is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you, exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful, tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud, shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful, tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud, shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Stay the at home. The Rona is spreading. This is no joke. It's no time to work or roam. The way you can fight it is simple, my friends. Just stay the at home. Now, technically, I'm not a doctor, but mother listen when I read a poem. So here I am, Sam Jackson, imploring you, keep your ass at home. If you want things to get back to normal, don't panic. Just use your dome. Wash your hands, stop touching your face, and stay the at home. Motherfucker, it's no time to gamble. Look around, you're not at a casino. Just stay the home as if your name was Trenton Quarantino. Sure, you can still see your friends. Use the mother app on your phone. But unless you just ran out of groceries, please stay the at home. Thank you for doing your part to flatten the curve, because that is steep. And now that you're home, please feel free to go the to sleep. The end.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode. Another episode. But you know what? I know you guys didn't tune in to see me. You tuned in to see the queen of the show. You see her there. People been asking Diana, like, where is she?
Working. Working. Trying to keep that money coming in.
Hey, listen.
It's hard. It's a little more difficult when I'm working from home, just a little bit, because I'm not working off the two computers like I was in the office when I'm on the show with you. Mm-hmm. So I'm on my laptop and my desktop. Now I'm just on my laptop, and my laptop apparently doesn't have all the memory I thought it had. Right. So it slows stuff down. So I can't do what I did before when I'm on the show with you.
So let me ask you a question. In terms of working at home, mm-hmm. You know, I mean, you said technologically, right, if you had your computers there. But if you could mirror your technology, so you had your computers and stuff, and I'm not a whiz at all. My brother-in-law is. And there's software that allows you to log into your computer remotely, right? And have all the access as though you were sitting at your desk. If you did that, what would be the advantage to going in to the office as opposed to just having a work at home setup?
Oh no, I could do that. I don't recall what the software is, but it can be done. Mm-hmm. I just went back to my office and just brought my computer home. So now I just have to plug it in. Now it's just sitting on the floor in the living room.
So do you think when this is all over, you're going to go back to your office, or do you find that you're more, that you're more productive at home?
I am more productive at home, but I do enjoy going to the office. I think in my business, I still have clients that come into the office. I don't have to have an office space, but I may consider, sharing a space with somebody else, downsizing. I don't know. But I'm okay with my space because, the cost of my space is really dirt cheap. So it doesn't make sense to really give it up. So I think I'll keep mine and go back into the office. But I may not work in the office as many days as I used to. Maybe I'll do 4 days in the office as opposed to 5 or 3 days or something like that.
Okay. That's pretty cool. All right, so listen, guys, we got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. But Diane, before we do, because and Will Hathaway reached out to me. No, I think it was Caetano who reached out to me when I was talking about doing a food show, and he said that when I'm ready, he's got somebody who's got a kitchen and stuff. And I guess when COVID is ready, right? Or, when we have vaccines and stuff, because I ain't going to nobody's house, nobody's kitchen. I'm not going to be around anybody until I can secure myself. But yesterday, because we talk about the, what is it called? Misfit Vegetables, right? Fruits and vegetables.
Misfits, the company. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh, Diane. It is, it's like Christmas every week.
I love it.
I said to Amina yesterday, I opened the door. I was so disappointed. I was expecting my convection oven yesterday. It didn't come. And all day on Amazon, it kept saying, will be delivered by 8 o'clock. Will be delivered by 8 p.m. And then, but I didn't see the thing move down when I was checking the tracking, when it normally says out for delivery. It never got to that. So I said to Amina, I said, they're not going to deliver it tonight. She goes, Baba, yeah, they will. I said, no, they're not. 7:30 came, Diane, it still wasn't there. But when I opened the door, I saw the Misfits box. I was excited about that. We didn't expect it, but it was there.
Distracted you, huh?
It distracted me momentarily, Diane. But 8 o'clock rolled around, and then it wasn't out there. I go back to Amazon and looked, and then they changed the status saying that they were late, but it was still on its way.
Mm-hmm.
Then 8:30, 8:45, I'm saying they're not delivering it, so I called there, and the guy goes, well, I'm not sure why it didn't get on the truck, Mr. Dawson. And I said, okay, so now we got to figure that out. Anyway, but yesterday I made with my butternut squash, and thank you so much for the inspiration for the acorn squash. I did the acorn squash, right? I roasted it with some maple syrup, a little bit of brown sugar, and some butter. Oh, it was like a dessert.
So wait, I got to upgrade to that. So I was telling my cousin, and my cousin said, once you do all of that, take it out and then put applesauce in it and then eat it.
What? What?
She said, that is fantastic. I was like, are you serious? She was like, yes. She was like, you will never stop eating it again.
Well, I got another one yesterday. In my box yesterday. So I will do that today.
Try with that. Do everything else and then take it out and then scoop a little applesauce in it
right
and then eat with the applesauce.
It was so amazing. Unbelievable. And then, go ahead.
You know what I like about Misfits, and not that we get anything paid for them as a sponsor or anything, is that you get to try vegetables and fruits that you probably would never buy in the market.
Yeah.
And that one thing, that acorn squash, I've seen it before and was never tempted to try it. And then even going into a restaurant, seeing it on the menu, like, no, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm. But it's all about exposure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did the butternut squash soup yesterday, roasted butternut squash soup, which was amazing. I roasted the butternut squash for an hour, but halfway into roasting the butternut squash, I rubbed it down with some olive oil, some crushed pepper, and some pink sea salt, right? And then I roasted it for 30 minutes, and then I pulled it out, and then I cut an onion, coated the onion with olive oil, put it face down with some carrots that I covered with olive oil as well, put them in for the last half an hour that the butternut squash was roasting. I took it all out, Diane, and I put it all in a blender, right? The onion, the roasted onion, the roasted carrots, the roasted butternut squash. I lightly roasted a little bit of garlic, put that in there, Diane, with some vegetable broth. I blended it up, got it to nice consistency, put a tiny bit of maple syrup in there with some more crushed pepper and some nutmeg. Diane.
Okay, so that that sounds good, but wait a minute.
Diane. Oh my God.
That's like you're gonna die. So my mom, when I was taking care of my mom, had early stages of Alzheimer's and dementia. So at one point she wasn't able to chew. Mm-hmm. So for me to make it easier so the food would slide down and stuff, I would do like 3 or 4 stage baby food and stuff like that because it was already pureed, natural stuff. I would do a lot of soups and stuff, and I would do butternut squash and she loved that. But I got this idea that I could puree everything. So when you talked about how you made it and you baked it and you did all of this and you put it in the blender, well, I made meatloaf, and I was like, I can puree it.
No. Diane.
Good morning, family. Good morning. It was like sawdust.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, I'm a failure. Like, oh my goodness, what am I doing?
You pureed
That was
meatloaf.
funny. That was a funny memory. I needed that.
Well, so and here's the last one. Then I'm gonna welcome Andre Little. He just called in. But my brother did that when I was in the hospital, Diane, and I couldn't eat because of the stomach tumor. Right? And so I was really on like liquids, and I could only like consume tiny bits. It wouldn't even pass by the tumor. So he said, "Well, you need your protein." Diane, he cooked up a chicken breast, and then he pulverized it. And I know he listens to the show, and so he brings me up this container to the hospital, and I'm like, "What is that?" He goes, "It's chicken." Diane. It was liquefied. It was a liquefied chicken breast. And he said, "Listen, man." I said,
When you love somebody, you go to the extreme.
Go to the extreme.
Like, I can do this. I can do this in your mind.
In your mind. Oh, gosh. And, you know, so when they say, you ever heard the saying where they're like, "Oh, it all goes down the same way. It's all mixed up in it." No. No, it's not. It's different. It's different. Anyway, Brother Amir, I thought about you this morning, man.
I'm fine. I'm enjoying the laughter.
Because when we talk nutrition, one of the things that we talked about early on when I was diagnosed is you were talking to me about beets, adding beets to my diet, right? So I've done that. So I roasted some beets this morning. But what I realized, and I want you guys to understand this, when you get the stems and the greens, don't throw them away. There's actually more nutrition in that than in the actual root.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I'm going to have for lunch after the show is over, because my house smells amazing from the roasted beets, is the stems, I'm going to cut up like you would do scallions, right? I'm just going to chop them up. I'm going to saute them in a pan with a little bit of olive oil, some jalapeno peppers, and some garlic.
I tell you, that roasted box is like turning. It's like a drug.
It is. It is.
When I get it to make new stuff.
Yeah.
Don't forget the astaxanthin and those Brazilian nuts. Remember, the astaxanthin is one of the most powerful forms of antioxidants. It's like 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, 100 times stronger than vitamin A, 600 times stronger than green tea. That astaxanthin is very powerful.
So what exactly is astaxanthin? What is that?
Astaxanthin is it's an antioxidant that's extracted from algae, green algae. And over the last, I want to say 12 years, maybe 13 now, because I've been using it for 3 years, 13, 14, 15 maybe, they found that astaxanthin is 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C when it comes to building the immune system. And it's in small. I think I told Eric about this when he first was diagnosed too, that this is a great immune booster that most people don't hear about, and the doctors, of course, are not going to tell you about this because they can't profit from it because it's not a drug. But it is very powerful. It's a very powerful anti-inflammatory. It's spelled ASTAXANTIN, astaxanthin.
Wait a minute. Give me the spelling one more time. A what?
ASTA, asta, ZANTHIN, astaxanthin. You can find it at any good any good herbal store. Okay. I always tell people to use the vegan version of it with the vegetable oil capsules instead of the animal capsules. But it is very good. It's a great anti-inflammatory.
You know, one of the best herbal stores, and we don't get paid for any of this, right, Diane? We don't, to mention them.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hey, listen, it's coming, y'all. But is the one on South Orange Avenue? No. Is it South Orange Avenue?
Yes, it's South Orange Avenue, Corona Health.
Is that it? Corona Health?
Yeah. Corona Health. They've been there over 20 years.
Where are they located at on South Orange Avenue?
I forget. I posted it the other day when I got my
They
sea
got
moss
everything in there, Diane.
Oh,
Everything.
they got the sea moss in there too?
Got
Okay, so tell me about the sea moss. Tell me about sea moss. My husband ordered some sea moss and he's upset it hasn't come yet.
Well, it's right there on South Orange Avenue, Diane. And it's another. There's he has it, I think, in 3, 6, 9, $15 amount.
Okay.
So basically, it's from the sea. It contains 92 of the minerals, 92 of the 100 and something minerals that the body needs to function. But it has 92, I think, of all of those minerals in one food item.
And Diane, guess what the name of the store is? Diane, guess what the name of the store is?
What is it?
Corona.
Wow, that's interesting. That's biblical? I don't know. Like, what the what?
It's
okay, so if I'm on South Orange Avenue, if you don't know the street, like where on South Orange Avenue?
It's right between 10th and 11th Street.
Yeah.
10th and 11th Street.
On the right hand side. I don't know the exact number.
If you're going west on South Orange Avenue, it's on the right hand side, Diane.
I'm coming up from Bergen is on the right hand side?
Yeah, but it's up
yes.
Yeah.
So is it it's after the mosque on the right hand side, it's after the car wash.
Right after the car wash. It's right after the that bodega that sells food right on the right hand side. It's right after that. It's in between. It's in the middle of the block actually. You'll see a line outside.
Okay, they still open now, right?
Yeah, they open. They open every day.
I'm gonna check them out when I go back out. Thank you.
All right, brother.
You don't want your husband husband waiting for something that's right here locally.
Yeah, I didn't know. He didn't know, so I don't know if he knew, but he's a little paranoid about going out. So he's like, I'm ordering everything. So I'm the only one that'll really venture out. But I got you. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You know what? Before we get into the financial stuff, I want to say this last thing. You know, I watched, and I never saw the movie Contagion, but I saw it last night.
Oh, God.
And well, it was eerie watching the movie going through what we're going through right now. Right?
Okay, but are movies based on some reality? They do some research and stuff like that?
But I'm just saying, like, all of the things that, and I never saw it. I saw Outbreak, which I love, by the way.
Right.
I'm a big fan of Dustin Hoffman. But when I watch Contagion, like literally everything that we were going through, everything we're going through right now.
So did you learn anything from that we can use now?
Well, you know, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of watched it for the entertainment part of it. But you know me, Diane. My thing is, look, pandemics. We're gonna be dealing with them. They're not gonna go away. We have encroached in a big way into spaces as we, develop areas for human beings to live. We've encroached where animals live, the way that we handle animals now, animal farms and cross-contamination of feces and other kinds of things. There are all kinds of stuff out there that we're going to have to deal with. And the fact that we are so densely populated now in areas, right? You can see how a pandemic can, or, how a virus, can quickly spread, right? So you go to areas where, where you don't have dense populations, right? You don't have as big an outbreak. You don't have as much death. You don't have all those kinds of things. So it will behoove folks to think about both of those things. One, how we pack people into urban areas, right? That's one.
Urban development, that should be a big concern.
It's got to be right. And you know how I always say, when you're talking about elections and you're talking about politicians, they got to be talking about urban development.
Okay, right? Eric, you get ready to go too far into other topics.
No, I'm not going to go there, but I'm just saying. So you get so in this thing, as we talk about it, we got to be talking about urban development. Then we also have to talk about, in a real way, you know, and whether you're a vegetarian or not, a vegan or not, just the way that we handle animals, right? We have to talk about that. We have to have real honest conversations about it. Science has to be involved in it. We have to understand the impact of it and how these viruses and diseases jump, right? From, you know, how did it jump from a bat to a human?
Here we go again.
You know.
Okay.
No, but we have to have these conversations.
Yeah,
I'm not saying on this show, but I'm saying just in general. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, so welcome, Brother Amir. Today is Wednesday. We're going to spend, I guess, until about 11 or so, talking about financial literacy. So let's go.
Yes, good morning, good morning, good morning. And I'm so glad to see and hear Diane. I'm so glad to see and hear you. I really am. I'm glad to see and hear you too, Eric. I can see the progression of your healing. I'm just so glad that you are still here with us and doing what you do. I just wanted to say that because aside from anything else and all the differences, bro, I love you and I'm glad that you're doing well.
I love you too, my brother. Thank
all
you.
right. So, having said that, I got a notice from Facebook today that, you know, a year notice, you know, to give you a reminder, and I shared that. But I just wanted to let the people know today that I didn't share this last week, but Diane, if you have your computer near, you can actually access this. One of the reasons why I love this company, Carrot Bars, and my mentors in this company, is because they keep us fully aware of what the government and Federal Reserve is doing without our knowledge, because we would have no knowledge of these laws that are being quietly passed while we're in our homes or at work or at school. So just to give you an update, on March 20th, the Federal Reserve passed a law that the banks no longer have to hold any reserves of your savings in their banks. The Federal Reserve just passed that law.
So what does that mean?
That means that previously, this is how reserve banking, right? Fractional reserve lending or fractional reserve banking is where banks will take our money that we put in the bank. They are supposed to, by law, hold a specific percentage in the bank. So if we come to get it, the money will be there for us to get, right?
Correct.
Well, they changed that law. I think it was the 20th. And now the government, well, not the government, excuse me, the Federal Reserve now allows the bank not to hold any reserves of our savings, which now puts us at a disadvantage when you want your money. If you want to go to the bank and you want to get $5,000 of your money or $4,000 of your money, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be in the bank.
So,
because they're either loaning it all out or they're either investing it.
So does this have something to do when you see it's FDIC approved and insured up to $150,000 your bank account?
Well, it's $250,000.
$250. I'm sorry.
Right, and it plays a narrative in what they're planning on doing. In other words, in 2014, they passed a law, right? The G20 nations, I don't know if you remember this, in Cyprus, Greek, a bank had a failure, and the bank was deemed too big to fail. So what they did was they took the savings or the savings deposits of the creditors, and they transferred those savings, a portion of those deposits, into stocks to save the bank. Because that bank closing would have caused a domino effect of banks failing in Europe. That's one of the reasons why Brexit is, they wanted to get out of that system, right? But a lot of people don't know this, but that law changed, and now the United States is a part of those G20 nations that can and will, when the time comes, take your savings to save that bank if it's deemed too big to fail. So this is the next step in that line of seizure of your savings.
So,
That's
so wait a minute. Let me ask you, Chris. So you said that if I go to the bank right now, and try to withdraw $5,000.
9 times out of 10, they won't have it. You will have to
And so
make an
what do they?
appointment.
So what do they tell you?
I'm telling you, you're going to have to make an appointment.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, they're going to say, Eric Dawson, you don't have your money today. You're going to have to make an appointment. They're going to schedule you a date for you to come get your money. That's what that means. And I was saying this, I know me and you had a conversation, Eric, about 2 weeks about this. This was before the law passed that this was happening. But now it's actually official. The Federal Reserve passed the law. So I mean, the thing. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I'm sorry. Tell me to log in because I'm on that Federal Reserve page and I want to get more information on this.
Okay, so I don't know the exact name of the law.
Okay,
but I can send you it's on the Federal Reserve. If you Google new Federal Reserve banking law, but I'm gonna send it to you now on your Facebook page, Diane. I'll just send it to you. The actual. I didn't post it.
I'm sorry. I'm on the
it.
page and I see a lot of changes on here that have happened in the last couple of days. Like literally, like almost every day, every other day, there's a change.
Yes, because they're positioning themselves to confiscate the wealth of the people who are already have money in the banks, because they're trying to do something that historically, and this is something that I said to. I'm not a genie in a bottle to be able to predict this. What went on? I just was a student of financial history. The United States government is following a roadmap of a 2,500-year-old problem that has happened throughout all civilization. Every country or civilization who have taken gold and silver out of their monetary supply, that civilization's monetary system has collapsed. Every single one. Diane. So we're following the roadmap to a dollar collapse. We're doing the same thing every other civilization did. Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Great Britain, Germany, all of them did the same thing. All of them hyperinflated their the money supply into the currency collapsed. So this is why I'm trying to teach our people and our community, our friends, our family, anywhere they are, what's actually happening, because we were never taught these things. We were purposely not taught the history of money, what the foundation of money. We were taught about credit. We were taught about loans. We were taught about the things that will keep us in debt for life to this system. That's what we were taught. But we were not taught how to avoid it, how to get around it, how to circumvent it. We weren't taught those things, because then we would build wealth in a way that will wean us away from this system. That's why I'm telling people we need to start saving gold and cryptocurrency, right? And silver if you can, because these three currencies are the only what I call decentralized currencies that the government can't produce. They can't produce Bitcoin. They can't produce or print gold. They can't produce silver. So these are the things historically that have maintained its value for thousands and thousands of years. If you're Christian, Diane?
Yes.
Okay, so you know that one of the three things that Jesus was bought was frankincense, myrrh, and what else? Gold.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that gold was money in the Bible, in the Quran, in the Torah, or any other religious book, and the banks still use it today, but 99% of us don't own it? This is not by mistake. It's by design. It's to keep us. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. To keep us.
I said it's designed to keep us in debt. It's designed to keep us financial slaves to the system. Because if we only taught about, credit, compound interest, if we're only taught that, then that means that we're going to only use that. But every single billionaire, everyone, whether they tell you or not, all of them have and hold at least 5 to 10% of their assets in physical gold, as to prevent them from losing when these cyclical crashes happen. But poor people, middle class people, we were never taught to hold gold.
So
That's a physical asset.
right. So tell me something about Carrot Bars, the corporation. Who started it? The background history of that? Because I think what happens with people when you're trying to introduce new ways of thinking, they need a historical history of how the company came about before they can buy into the idea of what you're really talking about.
Okay, so that's a great question, Diane. Carrot Bar started in 2011. Our CEO, Harold Seitz, is a German, from Stuttgart, Germany. He is a student, right, of German economics. And anybody who knows anything about German economics knows that Germans are extremely knowledgeable economics because they did what the United States is currently doing right now. They hyperinflated their currency and it collapsed, right? Because they used to have the world reserve currency before Great Britain. So Carrot Bars, the German gentleman, Harold Seitz, grew up like most of us, poor, in a poor family. His father left him. He was with a single mom, but he was able believe it or not, he sold life insurance and vacuum cleaners, and he became very, very astute, right? Financially astute. He became a millionaire. So in 2011, he started, right after the financial crisis of 2008, he started this company. His mission was to return gold to the masses of honest people worldwide because he knew, based on history, that gold is the only way to beat inflation. That's the only way to beat the hidden tax called inflation because we've never been taught how to beat inflation. We've been taught to accept it. So what this man did was he created a system, the first system in the world to exist, to allow us to start saving gold below a gram. So making it affordable for the masses of people no matter what country they are in the world. So now you can start saving gold as a minimum, physical 24-karat gold, minimal at 1/10 of a gram for about $6, almost $7. So the company does three different things that separate it from any other gold supplier in the world. First of all, they allow us to save gold, and they will store it for us or send it directly to your front door. FedEx, right? They allow you to earn commissions on the movement of that gold. So one of the basic things in business is when money is moved, money is made. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When money is moved, money is made. You can't move money free. If you write a check, if you do a wire transfer, if you use your credit card or debit card, whenever money is moved, money is made. Well, what this system does, it places the affiliate in the line of the movement of that money. So whenever gold is moved, which is real money, there's a small commission to be made because there's a transaction fee on that gold, right? So this is how we financially benefit from all of us saving gold together because we share in those transaction fees. We share in those profits. That's why this is so important because now you're able to save the physical gold and then earn a commission that will replace the money that you used to save it, which is genius. Right?
So I'm looking on the website and it says that you said you could buy an eighth, a smaller,
tenth of a gram
up to a gram. Explain to me or kind of tell me visually, what does 1 gram look like? Is it the size of a quarter?
1 gram.
What does it look like so I could kind of visualize the size of this?
It looks like a small square of, let me try to see what it, a gram of gold is dense, but gold is so valuable, you don't need a lot of it to be as valuable as anything else, okay? So it's in a small credit card size. The actual gram is encased in a credit card size piece of plastic so you won't lose it because a gram of gold is not that big. It's only a gram. $1, just to give you an understanding, $1 weighs a gram.
Oh, okay. I got you. So $1, if you pressed it out and laid it out, that would be the weight of a gram. Okay, I got you. It makes sense.
Right.
But and then gold is a smaller chip sort of similar to maybe a chip inside your credit card. It would look similar to that.
Great example. It looks just like that chip in your credit card. That's a great example. I wasn't thinking, Diane. That's exactly about the size of that gram. But here's the beauty of it. There is no financial penalty for purchasing smaller amount. The same thing that you would pay for 5 grams is the same thing a poor person or a lower income person would pay if they purchased it in tenths of a gram. You would pay the same amount.
Gotcha.
So it makes it affordable. So some people ask me, Amir, well, what's the difference between me buying ETFs, right, electronically traded funds, as opposed to having the physical gold itself? This is the difference. 99% of our community can't get ETFs because a certain portion of them, first of all, are unbanked. Is that not true?
Yeah. That's true.
They're unbanked. That's the first thing. The second thing, a lot of them don't earn enough money to pay a broker to purchase ETFs, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. So the other part is the gains that you earn on these ETFs are further taxed. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you add all of these things into the business model of an ETF, it excludes 99% of our community. So here's the difference. The physical gold, there's no risk in owning the physical gold because every central bank in the world, according to the new law that reclassified physical gold in 2019, gold is now considered a tier 1 asset. It used to be a tier 2 asset, right? But now it's tier 1. Tier 1 basically means it's zero risk. You can't lose your money owning physical gold. We have never been taught that. We've been taught, even in all the investments you had, Diane, you had to sign a disclosure, right? The actual form releasing them liability. You can't sue them if you lose your money. Is that not true?
Right.
Okay. So with that understanding, there's no risk in owning the physical asset. Yes.
Excuse me. Let me bring this back. Again, tell me, what did you say an ETS was?
ETF means electronically traded fund.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So these are the things that separate this company, right, from any other a company in the world, because it makes it accessible for everybody 18 years or older to start their own account and start saving physical gold themselves. I can't. My daughter will be 18 in a few days. We've been giving her money and sending her money through Cash App, for the last year or so in preparation of this day. So when she starts her account on her birthday, she'll be able to save her own gold in her own account.
So my question to you, why 18? What is the age restriction with that?
Because it's the legal age of adults in most countries. 18 years old is a legal age of an adult, basically.
So what I'm saying is carrot bars can't be purchased by a preteen, or you can't. It's not like
no.
Okay.
They can't do it. They cannot start an account unless they're 18 years old.
Okay. All right.
Right.
I never thought about it with stocks and any of that stuff. That's why I'm asking. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about stocks.
And in relationship to that, I never thought. What you said, that it kind of makes sense that because it's a sort of semi-quasi contract, you really can't get into a contract under the age of 18.
Right. Exactly. So these are some of the benefits of our company. So the beauty of it is it combines the number one thing that we suffer from in America as W-2 employees are taxes. That's our greatest expense after our mortgage or rent is our taxes. So here's the thing. Most of our community who are W-2 employees don't own a home-based business and don't understand the tax benefits of owning a home-based business. Diane, I know you know this. Eric, I know you know this. Vincent, I know you know this. You understand the tax benefit. So what are some of the things, Diane, that you can write off that W-2 employees already pay for but that can't write off?
Let me see. Let me put on my legal hat and say what we can write off.
Yeah, and the IRS is listening.
Exactly, because the IRS is always listening. Business trips, business dinners and stuff like that. Travel, business travel. We can write off expenditures for expenses for the business in regards to supplies, stuff like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot that you can write off.
What about a certain portion of your rent?
Let me give you a hand, Diane. You can also write off portion of your mortgage if you have a home-based office. You can write off usage and mileage on your vehicle. You can write off your plumbing and electric bill, and you can write off a few other expenditures. But go ahead.
That's excellent, Vincent. That's true. And those are expenses that if you own a home, you have, right? And if you don't own a home and you rent, some of the other expenses is your PSE&G, your water bill, your cable bill.
No, you can write off your rent if it's a home-based office.
Right.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And your Wi-Fi, your cell phone bill. These are things that parents that are single parents or dual parent homes are struggling with every single month. These residual bills that they get every single month that they don't realize you'll have a deduction regardless of what the home-based business is. You can sell lemonade, Kool-Aid. It doesn't make a difference what the home-based business is, as long as you are in, according to the IRS tax code, anything that you do in pursuit of a profit in your home is called a home-based business. So because as affiliates of Caribars, we don't work for Caribars. Just like affiliates for Uber or Lyft don't work for Uber or Lyft. They share that link with other drivers, and if those people start driving for Uber, the person who sent them the link gets paid the commission.
Right.
It's the same.
So let me slow back. Let me go back for 1 second. Let's move out of the Carabar thing. We can get back to the gold thing if you want to, and the feds and the banks and everything. I want to zero in, Vincent, Diane, and Amir, on what I think is something that folks should be looking at, and that is because it doesn't take much to do it, right? To start a home-based business, no matter what it is, and it can be a sole proprietorship, and you still can take advantage of all of these tax write-offs. So
you can, but there's a level of registration that allows you to take it on. Other than that, it basically.
Hello, Vincent.
Went out, Vincent.
Hello.
We lost Vincent.
Did we lose Vincent?
Oh.
Vincent will call back, but no, he's still on. It must be his.
I'm still on.
No.
Oh, okay.
So, Dad, what were you saying?
Okay. What I was saying is that, Eric, you're absolutely positively correct. However, there's a level of registration that's involved so that you are able to take those percentages in your tax write-off.
Right.
If you are not registered or have any type of business formation or recognized business formation, you can't get a write-off because it's a hustle.
No, I understand that. So let's stay here for a second, because, like a little light went on, right? Just in terms of, so if we had an organization, because I always say that the organizations in our community are BS organizations, right? Whether it's the Urban League or NAACP and the rest of them, they don't do anything. They're ear hustling the community, they're poverty pimping the community, right? They make a lot of money. They get grants to fill seats in rooms for programs, and those programs have no real impact. That's why you can see an organization here for 100 years and see no change. But if you had an organization, Vincent and Diane and Amir, that was focused on this, that said, hey, look, what we'll do is we'll show you, right, we'll give you the steps of creating everything from a sole proprietorship to an LLC or S Corp or whatever it is you want, right? But here's the simplicity in creating the sole proprietorship, and here's what's involved in creating the S Corp or the LLC. And then what we'll do is you can become a part of this bigger umbrella. So maybe this is what. Well, let me finish what's in my head. So you become.
Well, no, because the actual mechanics and foundation of this group, and what he's trying to express to you is that he's not a owner or employee, but he's a subcontractor.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that's why I said I want to move out of carrot bars for a second. I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is this. So let's say let's say the four of us started an organization, a nonprofit, and our goal was to take people and teach them how to start a very simple home-based business. So you simply say to them, you keep your job, right? You're not going to get rid of your job. You're going to keep your job. And the reason you're going to start a home-based business is for two reasons. One, for supplemental income, but secondly, for tax sheltering purposes, right?
Absolutely, Eric.
And so now you say to them, do you see the light on in my head? So then you say to them,
yes,
so now here's what you're paying in taxes. And if you simply do this, so yes, like Amir said, bake some damn cookies, sell some lemonade, figure out how to do something, right? And then we'll help you structure it so it's not a hustle, Vincent, right? So now you have all of the proper paperwork so that you can do this. You can now write off a percentage of your rent or your mortgage. You can write off a percentage of your car insurance and your gasoline expenses. You can write off a percentage of your eat out expenses if you are truly conducting business. You can write off some of those things,
Right.
including a percentage of your wardrobe. So now, once you lay that out for people, and you say, so here's on average what the average person creating a simple sole proprietorship, right, outside of what you might be able to earn as extra income, supplemental income, here's how you can shelter yourself. Now, that is something that I might be able to get on board with.
Correct, which is what we talked about last week after the last carrot bar conversation. These benefits are only applicable if you have a recognized corporation. Donald Trump, during his new tax revamping, made it evidently clear that the corporation was the way to the self-corporation or becoming a business yourself was the true way of deducting and saving a lot of your income into the tax shelters.
Right.
Yeah, and see, Eric, you know what else too? And you know what else too that a lot of people don't know is that the mileage that you accumulate when you leave your job going home is a tax deduction because you're in lieu of going home to your home base.
No, I understand. I'm clear with all that.
That mileage every day.
So let me ask you guys a question.
How many more you got left?
Vincent, mute your phone, please. Mute your phone, Vincent.
So let me ask you a question. If you were to take this model and you were to approach the Urban League or the NAACP, and so they're they wouldn't have gold, but they could have lemonade, right? And you can become a subsidiary, right, of them with your business selling lemonade. And wouldn't you be able to do this? Wouldn't you be able to structure it the same way? And so I'll get back to the carrot bar thing. But let's say somebody didn't want to do the carrot bar piece, right? So I understand what you're talking about in terms of off-ramping from fiat currency and saving gold and all those things. But I want to stay focused for another minute or two on the home-based business. So if you had an organization that said, hey, listen, become an affiliate of ours, right? You're selling lemonade, or selling whatever. But the idea is that you can structure yourself as a home-based business with the full intent of being able to take advantage of the current tax codes.
So, Amir, is it possible? Is there an affiliation? And if so, how does that work?
Say it one more time. I missed the first word.
I said, is there an affiliate option with carrot bars, and if so, how does that work?
Okay, so first of all, if you become, there's two two things that you can do in Carib. You can either be a customer and not take advantage of the business, and you just save. The account is free. The websites are free. You can still save physical gold. It'll still be, they'll still store it for you for free or FedEx it to your front door. The only thing is you won't be able to get paid, nor will you get the tax benefits, right, as a customer. Okay, so that's one side. But the affiliate side is where every single middle class and poor person should be anyway, because we have never been taught how to beat inflation. That is something that every working class person, regardless if they understand it or not, we need to learn and know how to do that. Because that's what's eating and eroding our wealth, no matter where you put it. If it's in your mattress, if it's in your bank account, no matter where you put your money, every time the Federal Reserve overextends the currency supply, it steals from your wealth. That's the part most of us don't understand. So every time they print $1 trillion, what you're holding right now in paper loses value. You can't do anything about that.
Right. So I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
Except owning an appreciating asset is the only way that you can take it's the safest way that you can take your paper currency,
right,
trade it for an asset that's going to appreciate faster than the dollar depreciates.
Got it.
Faster than the
so wait a minute, Vincent, before do you disagree that if you can, that you should be looking to make these kinds of investments in gold or precious metals, or and off ramping from the dollar?
Well, see, here's the thing. You got to be careful about that word, that investment word. The investment word, it entitles risk, right? It entitles certain things that you have to go through. A tax, you'll be tax liable for 32 to 38% when you use the investment word, right? We're not investing in gold, we're saving it. We're saving the physical asset. That's not considered an investment. So when you buy ETFs, that's an investment. When you buy stocks, bonds, that's an investment. When you buy all of the things that you need to go through a broker with a Series 6 license, those are all considered investments, and they are considered to have counterparty risk. But there are no counterparty risk. There's no counterparty risk in owning the physical gold.
No, got it. So Vincent, would you say then? So let's change. Let words do matter. Would you say that it would be prudent if people can afford to save gold?
No, it's not prudent to save gold. That's called a gold necklace and watch. But because you cannot. No. Let me finish. You cannot, on the one hand, tell people that you're going to help them to invest, and then on the other hand, tell them that you're not investing, you're saving. There are two distinct subjects. Now, either I'm going to invest or I'm going to save. What you're talking about saving has no way of actually making a profit or financial gain, which is the reason we're talking to you about investing. If I was not looking to invest, I'd go to the jewelry store and buy a freaking gold chain or a diamond ring, which at some point in time I could probably sell it for whatever, money more than what I paid for.
But where's the empirical data for that, Vincent?
The empirical data for that is called common sense.
No. That's common sense. It's not empirical data.
Okay, the empirical data for that is a simple way that me expressing that I have an MBA, a Series 6, and a Series 8.
Okay, so that's not empirical data either. Empirical data is this. Let me give you some empirical data.
See, can we stick to the subject without you changing it to another subject of empirical data?
Listen, I'm trying to understand this, because some of the pieces of this puzzle start coming together for me, and I just want to make sure that the picture that I see is a positive one. So what Vincent is asking is this, and so if we're changing the word from investment to saving, I think Vincent is saying, well, what would be the difference then if I'm just saving right? And I'm exchanging fiat currency for gold, and then I'm going to save that gold. I think what Vincent is saying, and I'm going to use plain layman terms, is what would be the difference then in me going and buying a gold ring that I could actually wear? Wait, let me finish. That I could actually wear, right? And then, but I have it and I'm saving it. So like my grandmother, she's got a ton of gold jewelry that she bought in her 97 years of living, right? You know, and so she's saving it, right? So what is the difference in that and saving any other gold?
Okay, so great question, Eric. First of all, pure gold is monetary, is money, not jewelry. Jewelry is 10 karat, 14 karat, 18 karat. Anytime you fashion jewelry, you add base metals, silver, copper, and other metals. It depreciates the value. Why would I do that? When you can now own pure monetary grade gold, the same gold the Federal Reserve has in their bank.
Got it.
The same gold that that's the difference. We're not buying jewelry.
Okay, Eric.
It's a 300 to 600% markup on jewelry. You never get ahead that way. That's the reason why we're poor now. We've been taught to go to other people other than ourselves to buy jewelry. How many black-owned jewelry, Eric? How can you?
Yeah.
Eric, before you change the subject again, the simple fact is this. You are now, because now you're going into black-owned jewelry stores. But before you change the subject again, here is why they do not sell jewelry in 24 carats. Because gold is a precious and soft metal, and 24 karat gold means that it becomes very fragile and it will break, it will dissipate, you will lose it. So they mix it with the other metals to actually give it some the ability to wear and to hold. So go ahead with another one.
Okay, so which brings us to the conclusion it's not valuable as 24 karat gold. It will not yield the same profit or appreciation as pure gold.
So again, I'm just trying to get to the simple thing, right? Is it better? Is it if down here in my basement, do I do better having a bag of cash, American currency, or a bag of gold?
Okay,
I'm just trying to get to that.
Eric. Okay, so and this is the answer to that question. And let's deal with right now. In 2019, January 2019, a kilogram of gold was $40,000. In 2019, right? Now, this year, a kilogram of gold is $54,000. That's $14,000 in appreciation in 12 months. Name me something that you own right now, anybody on the phone, in a crisis that has appreciated 15%.
Right. So my question was, did I answer that? So your answer is yes. It's better to have the bag of gold than the bag of cash.
Wrong. Absolutely, because cash doesn't appreciate.
Okay.
It depreciates.
Got it.
You can't take $10 and buy in 2020, right? The $10 that you're spending in 2020 is buying far less than the $10 you bought in 2010.
Okay. So
you can't do it. You can't save cash.
Right. So Vincent, why do you say that me having back in, say, in the year 2000, if I made the decision to save gold, so had a bag of gold, so every time I got cash, I went and bought gold. So now here I am in 2020, I got this mound of gold. Am I not better off than had I not bought it and had cash?
No, because you're looking at the simple fact that having gold has its market fluctuations just like the dollar fluctuates. And here's the thing. To buy the gold, what do you buy it with?
No, I understand that. But I'm saying, so
okay. What I'm saying to you, Eric, is that no, the gold is not the most superb investment piece there is. And by the way, I know 3 billionaires, and none of them have solid gold or trade in it. But no, there are different investments that have yield and fluctuated since that time period that he's talking about to highs and lows, including real estate, stamps, and oil.
Oh no. Well, so we can have the conversation about investments, or well, in that case, if you're talking about real estate, you're not saving real estate, you're investing, right? So we're going to stay away from the I word. We're going to use the S word, savings. So I'm simply talking about savings. I'm trying to understand this. I really, really am. So if I had let's say from the year 2000 to the year 2010, I had, a windfall of cash through contracts work that I did for my clients, and I took, say, $50,000, $60,000. Instead of having that $60,000 sitting in the bank, I decided to take that $60,000 and I bought gold. Right, so in 2010, I bought $60,000 worth of gold instead of having that $60,000 sit in the bank. Now, yeah, you could argue with me, Eric, you should invest in real estate, you should invest in this. I'm not talking about that. Just gold or cash. That's where I am right now. Would I be better off right now if I had taken my $50,000 from 2010 till now and bought gold? Would I be financially better off?
Well, no one right now, unless they're sitting in front of their computer and can give you the rise and fall of gold prices from the time stated to the present. But because, as we all know, the gold, the Dow, and all of those other markets have fluctuated so much. Now, would you be better off? We can't say without 100%, or I can't tell you that without 100% certainty. And I don't like to talk about things that I don't have a strong level of confidence in disclosing. But if Eric, you wanted to do the investment piece and you wanted to invest in gold, I would track the markets of gold and how much it's sold for and its ups and downs within the last 3 years before investing in it.
No, I understand it, but see, here's where I am now, because you're using the word investment. No, I want you to weigh in. But what I'm saying, Vincent, is you're talking to me about investing. Amir's talking to me about saving. The same thing, gold, but not investing in it, but saving in it.
But you are saving it or hoarding it with the intentions of it gaining value in a set amount of time, correct?
Yes.
Then that's called investing.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so here, answer the question. Let's get to the answer. In 2010, if he had taken $10,000 worth of gold, you have a computer, Vincent. You have a computer and a calculator in front of you. Show us what that MBA can do.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you.
Right now.
No, I will not do it right
No.
now.
I just want to listen, guys. I don't want it to devolve into this. I'm literally just saying. So if you know the answer, Amir, just if you're saying that I would be doing better, whatever the percentage is.
Gold has appreciated over 170% since 2010.
Okay.
So 170%.
Okay. So
it's appreciated over 170% in how long?
Since 2010.
So in 10 years, the prices. Okay, I've got to go. So I'll do the homework and I'll check back with you guys later.
All right. Have a great.
Since 2005. Diane, I'm sending this to you. It's in your back office. It's in your It's in your Facebook right now,
Okay.
Diane. You can pull it up.
So that's okay. But I want you to. Yeah. Go ahead. So you said it's appreciated how much?
Over 170%.
Okay, so
since 2005.
So I'm not gonna look into fee right now, but assuming it appreciated that much in 2005, and you look at what my cash would have done in the same time had I just had the $50,000 in cash, I would be better off. Now, I think but I think that part of what there are a couple things that I'm trying to sift through, and so the difference between now it wouldn't because I agree with Vincent that if I'm buying it right, and I'm saving it with hopes that it would appreciate. And so if it's appreciating, then I'm actually making investment. And so I just want to, because like the words matter, just want to make sure. Now, if you're saying that we're using the term saving and not investing for tax purposes or some other kind of thing, I get it, but the reality is, it's an investment.
But see, it's not, Eric, because here's the thing. This is the thing that you're forgetting. Gold is money. They changed the ideology. They changed the legal text in the United States to tax gold.
No. I understand that, but here's
but you got to understand, it's money.
But
all you're doing is holding one currency over the other currency.
Right, but here's
this is the part that we have been. This is the part we've been lied to.
Here's where I am, though.
Money.
But here's where I am now, and I'm hearkening back to the conversation I had with Farrakhan when he called in. If I'm looking at that bag of gold as money, I can't take if I gave up my $50,000 cash. I got no cash. All I got is the gold, and yes, it appreciated whatever the percentage is you just told me since 2005. But I got that, and I got to go get a haircut. I can't reach into that bag of gold and go to Farrakhan and get a haircut. So when Farrakhan,
here's how that works, Eric. Listen to me, please. If you save that money in the form of gold, right, and you had to go to get a haircut, you're not going to your life savings to get a haircut. But you have to stop thinking. You got to stop thinking outside of what wealthy people think. You're thinking like a person who doesn't understand wealth. You don't go to your savings right now and go get money to get a haircut.
No.
Wait a minute. I want you to understand in the vein that I'm giving you the example. You do not go to your life savings to go get a haircut. You use your cash flow from your income to go get a haircut.
No, I understand that.
But if you wanted to liquidate, let me just get to it. If you wanted to liquidate your savings to go get a haircut, you would take the physical gold and you would sell it for the currency at the barbershop accept.
No, I understand that. But the only point that I'm making is this, that when you say it's money, because words matter. I can take my money, right, my currency, money, and I can go and get a haircut. I have to now do something with this gold to make it. So when you call it money, I'm saying it is not currency that I can exchange for a haircut or for groceries at the store or for gasoline at the corner gas station.
That's because you have been told. This is a lie that we've been taught. We've been taught paper money is paper currency. The dollar is money, and it's not. The paper currency is called fiat currency.
No, I understand.
If it was money, so understand that. Now, the reason why gold is money because it has certain principles that cannot change, right? But currency does. The principles of money is as follows: it's fungible, it's durable, it's transferable, it's a unit of account, it's a medium of exchange. It has what they call a store of wealth, a store of value. Currency does not do that. It is in short supply. Currency is not in short supply. You can't take the principles of money and apply it to currency because it's not those things. Okay? So just because a utility
well, wait a minute, because words matter. So wait a minute. But I looked it up. I looked up the word money. Wait, please. I looked up the word money.
I'm listening.
I looked up the word money. Because words matter. And then we're gonna go a couple more minutes.
We're moving on.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Do it.
All right. So it says money is something generally accepted as a medium of exchange. So that's all I'm trying to get to without any big. So when you use the word money, right, it says generally accepted as a medium of exchange. I cannot take the gold and generally exchange it for a loaf of bread, generally exchange it for a haircut, generally exchange it for gasoline in my car. Now I understand, and I'm just trying to make sure that that we're using the right terminology, that we're doing it. So I get the idea. I understand that the dollar depreciates. I understand that gold appreciates. If you say from 2005 to now, it appreciated at whatever the number you gave. I got that too. Where I am is when there are terms like it's money, I'm saying, well, wait a minute. We're talking investment versus savings. We're talking whether it's money or not. I'm looking up the definition, and I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, right? So I get saving gold. I get it. I get also, I think, if I'm looking to make an investment and I go and I talk to somebody, it depends on a range of things if it's an investment, right? How long am I looking to tie my money up? If the real estate market is really hot, I get a better yield on that than I do my gold in a 5-year period or 4-year period, right?
But see, Eric, those things are what you're saying. This is the reason why we're coming into this back and forth. If you knew the history of what I was telling you, you would understand that real estate does not outperform gold. S&P doesn't outperform gold. Well, none of these things has historically, I'm talking about from the beginning of 1792, when the stock market started, to today, nothing has outperformed what we've been given as money 6,000 years ago. Nothing. Once you get those facts, right, regardless of someone else's understanding of those facts, the facts don't change. Right. I do understand what you're saying. You have not been taught that. But the principles of money is not just a unit of exchange. It's 6 to 7 different principles of money. Not what you just Googled, it's 7. And money, currency, the dollar no longer fits the description of money after 1971. There's a reason why he severed the ties between the dollar and gold. That's what you need to focus on. Because once you understand that gold is the money and that paper was a receipt for money, then you'll understand, you'll be on the right side of history like I am. You'll understand that saving... Say it again?
I'm sorry, Mayor. So how can people find you and get more information? Your Facebook, your website?
Okay.
How can they contact you?
So my number is 862-452-9628. 862-452-9628 is my number. And, of course, you can hit me on Facebook, okay? And if you have any questions, and see, this is what we need. We need facts to understand why this is important. Because if this is the number one thing, ask yourself this and then find the answer. And that you've purchased 24 months ago, that's 15% more valuable than when you purchased it. If that answer is nothing, then you don't own any assets.
Got it.
That's
Brother, thank you so much, man.
Next week we'll talk about cryptocurrency because I want to get into that too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah. And then you know what I may try to do? I may try to get former Mayor Eldridge Hawkins on, because he's been trying to get me to invest in Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be a great conversation. So I'm gonna do some research on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all that other great techno stuff.
Eric, if you check your Eric Dawson, I sent you about 9 different countries that changed their monetary laws to accept Bitcoin as money. Right. It's in your Eric Dawson, what do you call it, your messenger. Right? I'm going to send you the same thing, Diane. So once you understand that the same countries that have passed laws not to accept the U.S. dollar have now passed laws to accept Bitcoin as money. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that the world is turning its back on the dollar. And as a community, we have to warn our people that this is happening right in front of our faces.
All right.
That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to have that conversation next week. I'm going to read all those articles, brother. Amir, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sis.
Thanks for calling in.
Good luck. Good luck, and I'll continue on with watching the show. I got to get ready to get out of here and try to get my family out of this hospital. All right. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
I'll be praying for your family. Pete.
Absolutely.
So, right, Diane.
Yes, sir.
A lot of information.
I have my breakfast over here to get rid of my headache because you and Vincent and Amir together is
I'm just trying to understand it. Like, literally.
I don't know, like the Three Stooges going back and forth.
I'm just trying to, And and part of it is literacy, right? So on Wednesday I come to class and I come to learn, and but what I did get out of it, I mean, I got a lot out of it. But one of the things that I'm going to focus on right now is talking to people about sheltering, right, by creating a business.
That's right.
Right? So, I want to, how my brain starts going. So I have a company called the Business Development Consortium.
Are you giving up too much information again?
All right. Never mind.
Okay.
Listen, if you're interested in starting a business and interested in trying to figure out how to shelter to be able to, because listen, when I was renting,
we could do a show on that.
Yeah, when I was renting, Diane, I was saving, I was writing off 25% of my rent.
Yeah.
25% of my rent. Think about that, guys. Think about what your rent is and the idea of being able to write 25% of your rent off.
So first of all, when we talk about that, and we need to have an accountant or CPA on, so we can talk about that, because people don't understand what does it mean to write off something.
Yeah, you don't get that back, right? So if your rent is $2,000, right, and so you're writing off a quarter of that, you're not getting that back. So people, so there's an understanding in that. Yeah. All right, so let's go. We got some other stuff.
The mayor is talking about shutting down Amazon warehouse because they reported a coronavirus outbreak.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So the mayor in Carteret stated that 30 employees at the Carteret Amazon Fulfillment Center have tested positive for COVID-19. And he's asking the health department to come in and temporarily shut down the facilities until all of the employees have been tested. And they've also contacted OSHA. And for those who don't know who OSHA is Occupational Safety and Health Administrators that oversees all workers' environments and work environments to ensure that the facility has their proper protective supplies. So remember when we were talking about how Amazon was trying to come to Newark, and then Amazon was moving out to Queens, and then Amazon just disappeared, and then they went other places, and we talked about how bad their employees felt and how they were treated at the company, but everybody was so angry that we pushed back and said, no, Amazon is not good for us, because even California said, no, this is not what you want. Now, here are some of the repercussions.
We would have had that in Newark. We would have had it in New York if AOC didn't push back, right? We had it all over the place. Now we're all those people.
Yeah. So imagine Amazon is still up and running. Imagine them having a facility in Newark up and running.
You know what?
People out and about.
They can keep my my package is being delivered by FedEx.
Okay.
Not Amazon.
So people have to be, you have to be considerate of the people that's still out there working in the warehouses, because everybody's ordering off of Amazon. Stuff is getting delivered, like you said, through FedEx, UPS, through the postal system. And they don't have all of their protective equipment. I mean, literally, I talked to my mailman. He doesn't have a mask on. He doesn't have gloves on. He's like, well, I got it if I need it. Well, I think you need it.
But you know what, though? Here's what I want to say, Diane. I know we got a lot of, we got about a half an hour, 35 minutes.
Unless we're going over,
Look, we can go over.
We can go over, I'm good.
But people have to stop thinking about just themselves. And Dr. Wright, when he was on, he said, see, that's how we're conditioned, right? To only think about ourselves. So when your mailman says, or mail carrier, because there are women who do it too, right? So when your mail carrier says, well, I have it if I need it, well, it's not just about you. You can be a carrier of it, and you could give it to somebody else. Do you understand that? So when you don't have your mask on and you breathe or you sneeze or you cough, right, it can land on something that somebody else touches. So stop just giving a damn about you. Care about somebody else.
Absolutely. There's been some back and forth criticism for various government agencies, specifically different industries, specifically in the funeral home business. And people are very upset and angry of the conditions and that they have been mandated to do, stating that they're upset that they couldn't have a formal funeral, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. But I put a post up on my Facebook page this morning to let people know, like, look, I totally understand, because I too have been in that situation. But you have to understand, if you have one family that's coming in and you have people that are working in the funeral homes, you may have 5 people working in the funeral homes to take care of these bodies and to receive people and do the paperwork, and you have 5 members from each family coming in at minimum, then you've exposed them to a very large amount of people, because they're not dealing with just one family. They're dealing with 70 families a week.
Right. And you know what? So, and don't be mad at the funeral home. You know who to be mad at? Be mad at all of the people who are telling other people to go outside without a goddamn mask on. Be mad at them. See, because this thing is continuing, because we have folks in our midst who are floating out these conspiracy theories, right? Be mad at Diane's mail carrier for not wearing a mask. Don't attack him, though. But be mad at him. Be mad at him, because, see, he is prolonging it. He is a part of the problem. But now you get to the end people who are trying to save themselves and their staff and their families, because they don't want to have folks coming in and not practicing safe distancing and all of those things, and then possibly infecting their families. Now you want to be mad at them? No, be mad at, see, understand what happened in order for your loved one to have contracted it, right? You see, be mad at all those people.
So it's funny that you say that, because there's a Facebook leader in North Carolina who has been pushing for people to, for North Carolina to reopen the businesses during this pandemic. But she herself, Audrey Whitlock, has now tested positive for coronavirus.
Good. Is that mean for me to say that? Good. Is that mean?
That's not nice. We're in the season of Ramadan, and that's not Christian-like either.
Diane, listen.
I'm going to pray for her.
You're going to pray for me?
I'm going to pray for you, too.
Listen,
look, the Catholics.
Look, I gotta say, if you're a person out there spreading this through word or through deed, then there's something called karma. And so whether it was the other guy last week that was reported he died, right? He was out there promoting not wearing a mask, right? See, and maybe that is what's needed to jar some of these people to say, you know what? Maybe I should put a mask on. Maybe I should do this. So maybe if more of them contracted it, maybe not die, but suffer a little bit. Suffer. Maybe suffer a lot. Right? Then
a lot.
I just, Diane, because I'm angry. I shared a funeral today on my page.
Oh, did you? Wow.
Right? A family, right? So they're using Zoom. Right? They're having this, and you see them coming in with the masks on. You hear the sobbing. You hear and I'm saying, yeah, maybe you did that. Maybe because you were selfish and you decided you didn't need a goddamn mask. You didn't wear one. You coughed in your hand. You touched something and it made its way to their family member. That's how I'm looking at you now. And so, I'm a little upset. And so maybe if you suffered a little bit, maybe if you had those excruciating headaches and vomiting and high fever and all those other aches and pains and stuff, maybe if you dealt with that for 4 or 5 days, maybe you'd repent, and maybe you come back on your social media page and say you were wrong.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I was looking on Facebook, and I can't think of the gentleman's name. He's out of Newark, and he was talking about how he was fighting with coronavirus, and he was so sick, and he was in the hospital, and he came home, and he's still recovering, and now on a breathing machine. Oxygen machine, because he stated that now he's started to chronicle Rafael Rito. That's what it was.
Yes.
Before. And he was talking about how he's going to chronicle his coronavirus treatment and stuff, and how he said when he went into the hospital, and he talks about his condition, but now even being home from the hospital, he's on an oxygen machine that he needs daily to breathe. And still, doctors don't know what the repercussions can be on your body and your other organs.
Well, we talked about that, Diane. Like, just because you overcame COVID-19, there was damage done. And we don't know, nobody's talking about that long-lasting or everlasting damage that may have been done to your body.
Absolutely. And not even that. People think that if you have gotten it and you survive, that you won't get it again, which is a misconception because you don't know that you can't get it again. For one, if it is a virus like the flu, people get the flu more than one time.
Yeah. Well, they're saying no. So at first they would remember. I talked about this. They were talking about these antibodies and trying to determine immunity based on people having had it already. But now people who had it are catching it again. So that's already happening. So this whole idea of these antibodies to prevent people from catching it again. No, I don't think that's going to be the way to go. But anyway, guys, listen. Like Sam Jackson said, stay the home.
Did you listen to the clip that I sent you from the Las Vegas mayor who said that she was willing to use her city as the place where they could test the antibodies? And she was doing a CNN interview with Anderson Cooper, and Anderson Cooper said, so you're going to volunteer your city, your residents, to be injected with the antibodies? She said, yeah. Well, you do know, usually those people, the people that test them, usually don't fare out well.
I got 2 words for her. Tar feather. Tar feather.
She went on to talk about how she was going to open up the casinos. The casino owners were like, no, we're not opening up. And Anderson Cooper said, well, so when you open it up and people start coming back to the casinos, because the majority of people that come to Las Vegas are people outside of Las Vegas. So when they come back to the casinos, are you going to be sitting there to greet them? She said, oh, no, why would I do that? I'm not in the business of casinos. I don't know how that business is run. And all I could think in my head was Sarah Palin.
Unbelievable.
To see Russia from my backyard. I'm thinking, who are these people that we elect? What's going on?
I don't know, Diane, but listen.
So,
go ahead.
Talking about election, the Orange City debate.
Diane.
There you go. Boom.
Listen, people get what they deserve. It was painful to watch that debate, and there were some questions that were asked. And you know what the most painful thing is? That the politicians are all lying. The people who tune in know they're lying, and all they're really doing is grading their performance in the lie. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, nobody's looking for the truth. They're just looking to see who lies the best. And then whoever lies the best is the one they vote for.
I don't think they were lying. They were basically answering the questions to what they were asked, and they gave no context to any information. So they were grazing over a whole bunch of stuff.
They lied. They lied.
To me, how the mayor of Orange, he gave concrete information about this is what was done, this is what we're doing. This is, you can see it, you can drive through Orange, you can see these things, development, all of these things. Then you get to the other 2 sitting council people. They never talked about what they were a part of to help develop in the town. Never in any of the questions.
Right. So here's the first question that was asked.
They did a bashing thing on mail that came out. And then in the debate, then there was another young lady, Sean
Hunter?
What's her last? Hunter, who started off with the debate, and they ended up telling her to turn her camera off because the feed was bad. Instead of telling her to move into another room or reposition, literally she was answering questions with a black screen. So people who do not know who she is or know who she look like have no idea who she is.
Well, what they should have done when they realized that there was a technical issue, they should have turned everybody's camera off. Right? So if turning her camera off was going to solve her problem, they should but see, I'm going to get to that too, right? But let me read they are all inept. All of them. These organizations, these people who put this stuff together, they're all inept. That they sat there and they allowed this one candidate to turn her goddamn video off, and that she did it, and that she didn't complain and say, well, wait a minute, you know what? If you guys can't get your stuff together, let us take a break, right? And then during the break, they could have played some music or something, right? Then the other thing that they had to go to, and then the person had to videotape a freaking computer. They could have called us up, Diane. We could have hosted it. But anyway, I digress. Here's the first question. Question number one. They were all the mayoral candidates were asked, to create a healthy environment for children requires good food, stable shelter, employment, and safe streets. What is your platform for creating such a healthy environment? Now, I'm going to say this. These debates are interviews. They should be. They should be interviews. So the first question that I would ask, if I were an honest person moderating a debate, is give me an example of where you've done this before.
Exactly.
Now, see, don't tell me what you're going to do that you never did before.
Right. Tell me what you've done.
Tell me what you've done and then how you're going to apply that here.
Exactly.
But that's why I'm saying they're all liars. All of them are liars. And then the people who sit there, they sit there and they listen to the lie. Oh, Eric, how are you going to ride an elephant? Well, I never rode one before. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know. I didn't ride one before. Because if I tell you I'm going to jump on top of the thing, it may knock me off with its freaking trunk.
So, this is the thing. When it comes to these debates, and people have to understand this, and I've been a part of these debates and been frustrated with these stupid, and I'm going to say it, stupid-ass questions that mean nothing. Go nowhere. Because like you said, you should be interviewing the individual. What have you done in the past? And you don't have to be in politics to be able to answer the question, but in your daily life, in your community, in volunteering, on your job, you should be able to apply whatever you've done to say, I have done this. If they say, I want to beautify the community, then have you worked in a garden before? Have you worked in landscaping before? Apply that information to how you know or how you want to learn to move forward. The questions are bizarre and stupid.
Can I answer this question honestly, though? I'll answer this question. Right? So if I was the mayoral candidate, I was answering the question honestly. Let me give you the question again, and I'm going to answer the question for you.
Okay.
Caller, please hold.
Okay.
Hold, caller. So I'm going to answer it. So here's the question. To create a healthy environment for children requires good... I'm going to ask you to mute your phone, caller, until you're on.
Okay.
Thank you. So to create a healthy environment for children requires good food, stable shelter, employment, and safe streets. So now, answer the question honestly, I would say, firstly, right, it says a healthy environment. We don't have the foundation for any of those things, right? So when we talk about food insecurities, when we talk about rent insecurities throughout New Jersey, we talking about whether or not we have safe streets. There are a whole bunch of other things that have failed, right? That have failed that we need to strengthen. So my platform first is to get rid of all of the failures. That's it. Now we have to identify them. And so now the second question that should be asked is, well, who's responsible for the failures? But they never asked that question either, right? And so you had elected officials, you had a mayor, you had two council people, and none of them are owning up to any of the failure, right? In the fact that we need a healthy environment, we need good food, we need stable shelter, right? So if the shelter is unstable, you got two council people, you got a mayor. Well, why is it unstable? Explain that. Explain why there's no healthy food. Explain that. Explain why we need safe streets. Explain that. You are in the goddamn seat. But you're talking as though you're not an elected official. You've legislated no policy. You've commanded no anything, and now you're talking like I'm gonna do this for the very first time. Go ahead, Will.
Good morning, Diane and Eric.
Good morning.
I got an opportunity to watch that debate. Okay. The organization that held that debate That was the most porous organization I ever seen in my entire life. I'm watching this debate from a man's computer. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You could have did better. Now, as far as your topics in regards to healthy streets or healthy food, I have lived in Orange my entire life, okay? And my observation of this debate last night was the organization could have did better. You know, as far as organization that's from Orange, a nonprofit. You're running a debate, a mayoral debate, where people are watching and expressing their opinions about the issues in Orange, New Jersey. In reference to Eric, I'm gonna real quick run down. Reference some of the issues. Healthy food. We need to do better with the healthy food. You know, having our children in our school systems get a proper meal. In reference to safe streets, I'm going to go on what I've seen in the past 8 years of the Warren administration, as far as putting boots on the ground, securing proper funding for police officers. We've hired multiple officers in Orange as far as public safety during this coronavirus. The governor has a stay-home order. The police are actively doing the patrols during the stay-home order, and that's what I can tell you about that debate. As far as the remainder of the election, there's been a lot of stuff with the mayor's opponents about accusing him in reference to running with police and fire, birthday wishes to the community. I think that his opponent, I'm not going to name names. If I should name names, she attacked him as far as going around with police personnel, seeing our young people, giving them out gifts. Okay, I thought that was unprofessional.
But you know what? Don't do that, Will. Will, don't do that, because if you do that, you have to talk about the mayor's henchmen and hackmen who put out that a flyer of that same candidate who's running against him with her behind bars. So don't do that.
Well, apparently, Eric. I mean, the facts speak for itself.
Well, what's
the facts speak for itself. The incident did happen back in 2004,
and the mayor went out to issue birthday wishes. That happened too.
So
what's wrong with that?
So people can make. So wait a minute. So if we're gonna use the show to start slinging dirt, right? Then we go all the way down, and we're talking about the mayor's pick for BA, who's on the run, who owes money to the township, right? What poor judgment there. What poor judgment with the mayor, with the library, and all those people who are indicted and going to jail. Don't do that, because I got all kinds of receipts, and I wasn't going to go there. But if you're going to go there on one candidate, because she has some concern about some residents and the fact that the mayor might be spreading coronavirus, and you're going to use the show to do that, then let's have the conversation about Willis Edwards. Did he ever pay the $250,000 back? Did he ever pay it back? What is the mayor saying about it? What is the mayor saying about his chief of staff who the feds are after? What did the mayor say about all these other people that he's done? Don't do that. These are all receipts.
You spoke about healthy. We're talking about healthy food and safe streets in the city of Orange in reference to the crime in New Jersey. I mean, can we hold our? You brought it up in reference to term limits. Is there a base of term limits in the state of New Jersey? Upcoming elections.
There are no term limits. And what I said in my post, what I said in my post to get this back to a constructive conversation, what I said in my post earlier was that any organization, I believe this, we need to disregard any organization at this point who is not on board with promoting term limits. They should all be promoted. The NAACP, the Urban League, that BS organization that held that debate in Orange yesterday. They should all be, the very first thing they should do is have every candidate sign a pledge for term limits. Because what we understand is this, that them being lifers in political office isn't working for the 99% of the people. All they're doing is stacking pensions, stacking cash. That's all they're doing. And then they're being covered by the Urban League and by the NAACP by cloaking these debates into, being, something worthy of watching.
So what was the second question that they asked?
The second question
you have to mute your phone. You're not talking.
And that may be Vincent too. So guys, mute your phone.
I can't hear the background. There's some background noise.
Okay, so everybody mute your phone talking.
Here's the second question. How do you see Orange emerging from this period of managed retreat and economic shutdown?
Well, here's what I deal. I believe I discussed it a couple weeks ago on your show where I brought out some information. Like I usually bring out some information about businesses in the city of Orange Township. I believe there's an economic plan. Governor Murphy had laid it out. The statewide plan as far as, getting businesses up and running, a small businesses like a mom and pop store. There should be some type of economic plan for all cities throughout the entire state. But I'm not going to really speak about that because I really don't much know about it. But I've been hearing Governor Murphy in reference to he actually yesterday in one of his press briefings announced his team as getting New Jersey back on the road to recovery as far as economically for the state of New Jersey, making sure that that businesses and people and residents are going to do the right thing as far as getting healthy, and I do apologize if I did attack another candidate, and I do apologize, but I'm just saying the economic plan for the state of New Jersey, let's hope for the best.
Wait a minute. Go ahead, Diane.
So this is where we're at, Will, in my understanding debate when they answered that question. You had two sitting council people, one mayor, and another person who has not been elected as of yet. But the answer that was given had nothing to do with the plan that had been put in place, because there is an economic plan that has to be submitted to the state. When every 4 years, when the mayor turns over of development, that was not discussed. The three people who would have been on the inside and knew about the plan didn't discuss the plan. They did talk about the building in the community, and the other gentleman, I can't remember his name. What was the other councilman? Jackson. Councilman Jackson did talk about economic development and having a partnership when builders come into the township, that walk around the town and talk to the residents and have a conversation with the government, with the residents and themselves, so that we can all collectively decide what is necessary for our town. But while I was saying that, and while the mayor was talking about the economic development and talking about the train station, that the rebuilding of that, I thought to myself, why is it that we are even at the point that we're allowing contractors to come in to build instead of us going to contractors and telling them as government and residents what we want?
You know why, Diane?
The other way around.
That's right. But you know why? Because the elected officials have an agenda that is not on the same page as the community and the people that they are there supposedly to represent. So when they go and sit with developers have an idea of what they want to do. Right? They come and they say, and it's all about a bottom line for a developer. And so
I can give you an example, Diane and Eric. Right next door to my house, the city's administration is building a field house. That is going to be based in right next to my house in reference to the baseball field. That's going to consist of a community room. That's going to consist of
concession stand, bathrooms, locker rooms, for our young people to, so it's like a little community house that's going to be for the community, as far as people holding like little meetings, just for the young people in our community, and just for a community based in general. And since I've been in Orange, Diane, in this long time, I've seen improvement in reference to economic. It's hard to get money from the state of New Jersey and the federal government. All mayors at this time are going to got to seek a way to get out of this post-coronavirus economic plan. We've all suffered. It's unfortunate, but we just have. Say that again?
We have all suffered. However, the budget that we're looking at now and the failure of the funds in the town is not because of coronavirus. It's due to ministerial mismanagement of funding and appropriation to the Family and Friends Plan. What I also realized is one of the responses when they talked about this, I think it was the mayor that responded about how they're developing things and programs for kids, but then one of the council people rhetorically said, we're still waiting for the Y to get done. We're still waiting for this to get done, and that's still closed, and that's still done. And my thing is with this, when you have these debates, again, back to what Eric is saying, this is about an interview for you individually. This is not about you attacking the mayor, you attacking the council person, or the other person attacking the person that has never been elected. It's about what you have done and what we know you can do based on what you have done. And what I have seen from this debate is nobody really talked about what they can accomplish or what they have accomplished. They just talked very, very surface about everything that was said. And it's a disappointment for one, like Eric said, when you have these people that put these debates together with these nonsensical questions that are going nowhere, it is a waste of your time. It is a waste of the residents' time, and it's only a time.
I thought it was a waste of everyone's time, because my understanding that this debate, we couldn't even ask no questions as far as the candidates.
Right. So that was the other thing. So based on whatever was going on with them, they said, we can't take questions from the audience. Why can't you take questions from the audience? You're on Facebook. He holding the phone to his monitor. Why you can't take questions now? That doesn't make any sense, because then it looks like you're setting up something in favor of whomever the candidate may be, just so you could say you did something and contributed something to the community, when in actuality, all you did was make things worse.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I agree with you 100%, Diane, because all that was a dog and pony show. Because if you can't take questions from the residents in which you are planning to represent, they want or their need.
Right. So, Eric, what was the third question?
The third question.
You really did 3 questions.
Yeah. The third question was, how would your administration encourage community-centered development that involves and includes the perspectives of Orange residents across the various demographics to create a more just and equitable city for all? So here's what I would say, right? Like, if we're still having these kinds of conversations, like, how would your administration encourage community-centered development, right? There should be, I think, Diane, just a almost like a mission statement, and I don't know if it could be legislated, that just kind of says, here are the top 3 things that have to be checked off before any developer could ever even come in and start talking about anything, right? So, go ahead.
There are values. I go back to my time on council. There are things that are put in place to stop stuff like this of contractors and developers just coming in. But when you have people who are in these elected seats that are making decisions for us and are not following the rules, then you have what we have now. Now, that's not every town and every municipality, governor in every state, but it happens more often than not. And it's because you have things in place. You have code enforcement put in place for a reason. You have zoning departments put in for a reason. Administrative, they're all stopgaps to make sure that contractors just don't come in and do haphazardly anything that they want to do or build anything that they want. It's supposed to be within the plan of the city. Each city has a plan. If the plan is to build out and have more housing, then it has to be according to that. If the plan is just to develop the business district, then they have to be building towards those things. You can't just do whatever you want. But I think what happens is people are always looking for that side money, that side hustle, extra, hit me up with this. And they're doing all of these side deals that are illegal and are detrimental to the community, because once they get arrested and go to jail, these elected officials, we're stuck with the aftermath of what they created.
Yeah.
Not to mention you're paying the taxes on their failures.
Oh, Lord.
And you know what? So here's the other piece. Speaking about the failures, Vincent, you never hear any of them take any responsibility for what the current situation is. None of them. To me, again, it's an interview, right? So, and you guys are going to see next week when Deidre interviews me. But
so, Eric, I wanted to share something with you. I wanted to ask your overall opinion about that debate last night.
Well, I'm giving it to you. I thought that it was a waste of time. I thought that it was disingenuous. I thought it was dishonest. Right? I thought that they all lied, and I thought that the moderators and the organization was complicit in that nonsense. See, here's what
they lied. I think they didn't tell the whole truth. My father used to say, "Don't lie to me, but don't answer if I didn't ask you that question. So only answer and don't expand upon it, because expanding upon it could lead you down a rabbit hole to get you in trouble."
See, here's a question that I would ask, right? Because it's an interview. I would have asked them, the sitting council people and the mayor, right? Tell me 2 mistakes or 2 things that you didn't do that you wish you would have done, and how you not doing them negatively impacted the township.
That's insightful.
See, now you ask. See, because I get asked those questions when I do job interviews. Like, tell me where you didn't. See, because when you come, you want to talk about all the great things you did do. So that means that in your entire time working there, you didn't screw up anything. You didn't make a mistake once. See, because once you tell me that, then you're out the door because you're a liar. So now I want to know where you did make a mistake, because you're willing to talk about all your opponent's mistakes, right? You're willing to talk about your predecessor's mistakes, but I want some introspection now. I want you to talk about your mistakes, and I want you to tell me how you've learned, how you've grown from that, and how and what you would do differently now. See, those are the kinds of but these organizations, because they're such bullshit organizations, right? And they want to kowtow because they want to get the debate. They want to be able to moderate it. See, I'd rather not have any. When you ask me, Diane, did I think any of them would ever come on here? See, the answer is really no, because I'm going to ask those questions. Why did Menendez cancel last minute last year? Right? Because they wanted me to, or the year before when he ran, because they wanted me to ask questions that they wanted to give me, and I wasn't going to do that. Why did Murphy cancel when he was supposed to come on? Because they didn't want me to ask certain questions. See, but those are the very questions, guys, that you need answered. I mean, asked and answered.
Yeah, and you're right. You got to have honesty to what, because nobody does anything right. And the honest answer for many of them could have been, and especially for me, maybe I don't know, maybe I didn't take this as seriously as I should have, and I should have looked into this more. But I know now, and moving forward, I did X, Y, and Z to make it better.
Right. I overestimated what would be necessary to get this done. I believe that I could do it because I wanted it so badly that I didn't pay attention to these things. So what I've learned is to temper my emotion about it, right, and to be more pragmatic. See, those are fair and honest answers. But
Eric Dixon said, softball questions they gave him.
Oh, God, they were horrible.
Oh, they were the worst. It was between that, the camera going sideways and all over the place, his hand behind him talking, and the camera told out, I apologize that we had to do it this way. The miscommunication between the two women that were hosting it, just seemed like they were confused as to what was going on. I'm like, this is like too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah, it was bad.
I just need you to be on screen and shoot the questions out. Ask the questions, and everybody doesn't have to have the same question. How about that? How about we have 50 questions and we just randomly throw questions out there, so this way we can get a true perspective of how these people are thinking, what they have accomplished, and what their plans are. Because again, when you're talking to candidates about their plans, sometimes I really don't give a crap about your plans. I want to know, were you listening to the residents about what their needs are? Because their needs are usually never what you want to do as an elected official.
Amen.
Yeah. So,
Amen.
That's how we thought.
I'm going to take you to the next one. So we're in Jersey City. So we're going to move from Orange, Essex County. We're going to slide down 280 into Jersey City.
Okay.
And over in Jersey City, Mayor Fulop is talking about, he's asking people to take an early retirement so he can save money, $20,000, or I think he said 20% of your salary as a buyout. So he's asking people to do buyouts. And my statement that I posted on Facebook was, if we're in this economic downturn, then why hasn't any of the council people given back their salaries and stopped their health benefits? Because you're cutting off salaries to people and you're asking them to leave their jobs with no benefits and stuff, but yet you will sit there and still earn a salary, still have health benefits, still get to pay into the pension system, still have a staff, and all of that is through the tax dollars that we pay. So one mayor stepped into my feed from South Jersey, and she taught Central Jersey. She's in Central Jersey, and she said, "I only get $5,000 as a mayor. Is that too much?" And I said to her simply, "No, it's not too much. However, when it's a supplemental income, that's wonderful, because it is a supplemental income for you. It's not your main income. Not only that, $5,000 is a lot of money to people who have lost their jobs and they're sitting around trying to figure out when they're going to get the stimulus check and if they'll get a second one. So yeah, $5,000 can be a lot to some and not enough for others. But my thing is, all of these council people, all these elected officials, freeholders, if they stop taking their salaries, how many jobs could we actually save for the people who really do the work in the town? What's your thoughts, Eric?
Mayor Fulop, give up your salary first. Right? Go down with the ship.
That's right.
Go down with the ship. Where you cutting? What cuts are being made by you? Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, come on. Look. If we're gonna make the argument that we're all in this together and everybody has to pitch in, then let's all pitch in. But don't tell other people to carry a load that you're not willing to carry yourself.
Oh no, we're all in this together until it starts to affect me.
Right.
Then.
So Monday and Tuesday of this week, Jersey City sent out emails and letters to 400 employees offering them a voluntary separation package in effort to combat their $70 million budget. They said that we're hemorrhaging, the mayor stated in quotes, we're hemorrhaging money. So only employees who are non-essential and have worked for the city for 15 years or more are eligible for separation packages if vacated. Fulop says. And many of those positions, many of those positions will not be refilled. Many will not be filled. Not saying that he's not going to fill them right away. The mayor declined to specify which city departments and positions received eligibility, but he states that Fulop estimated that the combined total salary of the eligible employees is $22.7 million. Though he doesn't expect everyone to take the buyout, he's offering $20,000 or 25% of their salary, whichever is greater. So he's hoping, he said, to get a $5 to $6 million savings with this. But my thing is, if you were being frugal before with the money of the taxpayers, we would not be in this dire situation right now. Vincent, what's your thoughts? Vincent. He's off. Okay. So yeah, Eric.
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead. Now I can hear you. What's your thoughts?
Oh no, I agree with you 100%. The government and government budgeting should not be devised upon tax and spend, which basically means a zero balance every year. So if you're getting 30 million a year in revenue, you do not spend 30 million a year. You put it down to the bare minimum in terms of employment, salary, benefits, and you also leave yourself a level of reserve for situations like this. That's what it should have been about. Yeah. He should have been frugal way from the start now. So since they and part of elected is getting some of their friends and their other friends those nice little cushion positions. So you know what? In terms of running off some people, why don't we start with them?
Yeah.
So that leads to this. Or did you have something, Eric?
Nope. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the 20% of inmates in New Jersey who tested positive from COVID-19 and died. But we'll get to that.
After this one. Okay, so with what you just said, Vincent, that takes me to another post that I put up. And there was just an announcement that Bill de Blasio announced that he put his wife, he appointed her as the head of the Coronavirus Racial Inequality Task Force. Mm-hmm. And my statement to that was, when should you not hire your family?
When they're not qualified. I think there are two things there. And I reflect back to something else my father always said. He said, it is always better to be above suspicion than it is to be correct. So sometimes you can be correct in doing something, but you're not above suspicion. So you bring unnecessary attention to something, right? And so this is a case there where I'm looking at both of them. So yes, is his wife qualified? I think she's immensely qualified.
How is she qualified?
What do you mean?
How is she qualified? How is she qualified to be the head of the Coronavirus Racial Task Force?
She's qualified because she's a black woman and the mayor's her husband.
Well, so my question to you is this: what are the qualifications? I mean, what is required? What is required from the so if I look surfacely at that, right? I think that I could sit and head that task force. It would just be I would then be required to create a network of doctors and other health professionals and other people to weigh in to be able to give information. But me being a foundational Black American would be able to temper all of that from my lens. So, go ahead.
So qualifications, when I look at things and people put people in charge of task force, especially when you talk about coronavirus, which is a public health issue,
right.
I would think that you would put a public health person who has experience in charge.
But she can bring in a public health person who has experience.
No, you can.
Right.
But that he would. See, this is what I'm saying. What we think should happen and what happens sometimes is not the same. We can look and you can talk about it in the city of Newark. There have been relatives that have been hired, and we say, oh, well, they should hire X, Y, and Z to help run a department. They didn't do that. They hired more incompetent people to help them destroy a department. So why should I assume that she who has no health experience would have the rational idea to say, just because I'm a Black woman, just because I'm raising biracial children, just because I have children that may have some type of mental compromise, that I would be experienced enough to know to call in a doctor, to call in a public health nurse, to call in an epidemiologist to come and help with this particular situation. Why would I assume that she knows that?
Well, and then there goes the whole point. It's a made-up position in which the qualifications are therefore posted by the person who made it up, which really should insult everyone, because now she gets this wonderful made-up position and she's paid for by your tax dollars.
This is what I'm saying, and there were people in my feed who went back and forth and said she's just like her. She's qualified. Well, how do you know she's qualified? She's not qualified. She was a writer by trade. And she didn't write for Health Magazine. She wrote general information. In fact, one of her famous publications was something she posted in Essence about her being gay. Like, this does not qualify her to cover something I always think that we're trying to eliminate, not exasperate the situation. But that's my thought. But then this also goes back to how we look into how people are allowed to bring in people, family and friends who are not qualified for the position in which they're in. And I have nothing against hiring your family and friends, but hire them in positions that they will excel and make you look good as well and do well for the residents.
So again, the question that I would ask is this. So there are a couple things. One is there somebody who's more qualified than she? Certainly there is, right? Should we be looking for the most qualified person? One could argue, yes, we should be. What you also have to look at, though, is what is he specifically looking for? So if he's looking for trustworthiness, if he's looking for somebody he can have absolute access to, and some other kinds of things. So this is kind of where we get into, well, what's a good fit, right? So you have some things that are on paper, but then you have some intangibles that somebody might be looking for in a key position like this, and she may fit those intangibles because he knows her personality as his wife. And so I'm look where I am with this thing, but this is where I tempered it by saying what I said to you before, Diane, above suspicion rather than being correct, right? So now we are in the suspicion area of this thing, right? So is he correct? Could he sit and argue all of the points that I just argued? Well, there are these intangibles, and so yup. And I believe that she has organizational skills. Yup, I believe that she can do this. I believe that she has, good decision-making skills. I think that, she has the ability to ferret out and find talent and bring them and get them to work together. She has a personality. We can talk about all of that, right? But the suspicion, and I agree with you, is, this is nepotism. I agree with Vincent. This gives her a title to maybe advance her somewhere else on the backs of taxpayers. So all of those things, given where we are, I'm not going to say that she's not qualified. I would never say she's the most qualified, because there are people who hold degrees and who have worked in the profession, and we talked about, give me your body of work prior to, so that I could have some understanding of what you might do moving forward. I get all of that argument.
Right.
But I'm not saying that she's not qualified to do what he may need her to do. But it's not above.
But the only thing that.
But it's not above suspicion.
I said the only thing that she's truly qualified to do is be a consultant with him in the bed or, at the kitchen table. And voicing her opinion does have a lot of merit, and she does have a lot of power in that position. See, this is where, Eric, you're right, it comes into suspicion, because now that position and power that she already has that nobody talks about, now it gets elevated and it has a title.
Right. And now I'm going to look into this. We got a call. I'm going to take the caller. But in the feed, somebody says that she had a high-profile position in the Dinkins administration. So I don't know what that position was. I don't know what her body of work is. I don't know if
public health.
I don't know if it's an overlay, and whether or not she could bring some of those professional skills to bear on doing a good job here. Caller, go.
Hey, what's up, guys? If we can all agree that we can be discriminated against for political reasons, her appointment as COVID inequity, whatever it is, the inequities of COVID-19, the outcome is going to be political, because she's a political appointee. And not only is she a political appointee, she's the mayor's wife. So are we really looking for inequity, or are we looking for a specific outcome on something that we already know? We already know that the inequity is causing more harm than damn COVID-19. And any environmental injustice that comes into our community, the first thing get attacked is people who are in no position to protect themselves. And if the mayor took his political power and standpoint of his wife, you know the outcome of the whatever her study is or whatever her findings are is going to be framed in a political way to make him look good.
Right, and there's the suspicion part, right? So where I say it's better to be above suspicion than it is to be correct. So is he correct in doing this?
Exactly.
But now there's going to be a ton of suspicion, right? Well, did she look objectively at this? Did she have information that could have been critical to her husband that she didn't share, in order to paint him in a good light? All of these things are now questions that he could avoid, right?
Yeah.
If he were to go and appoint somebody else.
But all of us need to start doing a study around us, our own little thing.
Exactly. That's my whole point. Why do we need to pay someone $100,000 to tell us what we already know? You know what I mean?
Because the money is there. Listen, because the money is there. Listen.
We can save some money and get a Facebook page and let everybody tell them what's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm always baffled by the decisions that people make, and I'm always trying to find the better of it, but sometimes it is just what Eric says. There is I don't know. It's just BS. But anyway, moving on to the next one. So there's been a wave of 50 inmates that have been approved for release from New Jersey prisons under the Murphy's Law. They talked about officials' attempt to limit the state prisons population by removing vulnerable inmates from behind bars during the coronavirus outbreak. The Department of Corrections in New Jersey stated he approved the release of more than 50 inmates who are both older and have underlying health conditions. So my thought is, okay, so you're releasing them. Are these people who also you're releasing them based on they have a home to go back to? Are they going to a halfway house? Or are they going to be homeless? So that's the concern too. What's your thought, Eric?
Well, listen. Firstly, I posted that article. I posted the statistic that out of all of the prisoners that contracted the coronavirus, 20% of them died. That's staggering. And so we got to understand why some of them are in jail now anyway, right? And so I think that we have to protect them. We have to figure out. Look, there are layers to it too, right? I'm sorry.
No, there is a lot.
Yeah, there are layers to it. It's nuanced. If you've got, what are you in jail for?
So the first wave of releases, Murphy stated he signed an executive order to release certain inmates, people older than 60,
right?
Those with high-risk medical conditions, those within 3 months of end of their sentence,
right.
And anyone recently considered for parole would be eligible.
There we go. Done. So now if I'm looking and saying, okay, I'm looking at these statistics, I'm looking for vulnerability, right? I'm looking at now this possibly being a death sentence to somebody who's going to be paroled in 3 months, right? No, I'm gonna, if they have exhibited an exemplary life during the time there, then yes, I'm gonna grant them that. You have to.
So under the order, wait a minute, 1 second, Vincent. Under the order, no one convicted of murder, sexual assault, or other serious crimes will be eligible. The DLC, which is the Department of Corrections, has identified more than 1,100 inmates who are eligible to be released under the executive order. The first wave was approved of release over the weekend. The Commissioner Hicks said, and they will be approving others on a rolling basis, is what he said as of Monday.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vincent.
Okay, the only thing that the governor is actually doing is increasing his bottom line, because the people that he's actually releasing early, one of the big and key factors is he saves money on their medical condition. The state pays somewhere close to $74 million a year in outside medical counsel and help.
Well, but so you know what though? Well, then somebody needs to address that. But the first part of this thing, I think, makes sense. I think you need to get them out of that facility. If you recognize that they're dying at that rate, you need to get them out of that facility. Now, if the idea is, if the question becomes now, how, what happens to their health care? Right?
Exactly.
Then there needs to be somebody advocating for that, right? Because you can't just dump people who have I have health care one day, but then you release me from prison, and all of a sudden I don't have health care.
Yes, you have a health care clause that will survive you for 30 days until you can pick up public assistance or Medicare, Medicaid.
I was going to say,
well,
yes, you
but should it be
in Jersey City? They're making them free furlough.
So wait a minute. Yeah. So should it be that if you're going to release me, that my health coverage should still extend to the amount of time that I would have been in prison? I think that's reasonable. Why?
That makes sense. However, you would have to have two separate agencies talking to each other, and they don't communicate. That's like your school board and the municipality. They don't talk to each other. That's why they work separately as separate agencies. Nobody ever talks to anybody. That's the problem we have with these, why you have to have these wraparound services, because they don't work together. Because that would make sense, Eric. That would make sense that once you leave, you still have the same coverage. You don't.
Right. Then you don't. And you also have to look at another thing. They closed down, 5 prisons? The reason that the prisoners are dying is, one, because of density laws. There's no 6-foot distance. There's basically, 2 people in a cell for most places. So we've got these extra prisons that have been closed down. It doesn't take much to divide and put some distance between the other prisoners who may be contracting or asymptomatic, and putting distance between them and other prisoners, decreasing the amount of deaths coming from New Jersey prisons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's a lot to it. Again, they're not talking to each other about it. So they're basically they're dumping them out there in the streets.
Yeah. All right, guys.
They're
listen.
They're dumping minimum security or minimum supervised prisoners and prisoners who would be paroled anyway. So
about it. If they're 60, they're not doing. They may not. Some may.
And where are they going? And where are they going? They're dumping them out, but where are they going? And so, to Diane's point about wraparound services, I mean, I get that you want to get out of the frying pan, but you certainly don't want to go into the fire.
Right. Because the state has to give them, if they have no place to go, first of all, they wouldn't be eligible for parole. So the state has to cover them for 30 days after they leave. That is their legal obligation.
Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be a mess. Other things in the news, Eric, did you see that the Turnpike is trying to raise, the Parkway and the Turnpike are trying to raise tolls by 27%?
Well, so here's the deal. Remember, the Parkway was supposed to do your
eliminate toll collectors. They're all gone.
No. But the Parkway was never intended to still be charging you a toll. It was only supposed to be for a certain period of time, and it was supposed to end. It just never ended it. Huh? Well, because once government gets its hands on money or a revenue source, they never let it go, right? So
okay, so back across. So where were we? We just left from Jersey City, and then we were in the state of New Jersey for prisons. Let's hop over to New York, over the bridge, through the tunnel, around the corner. New York is booting Bernie Sanders off the ballot, and they canceled the Democratic presidential primary.
Well,
as you talked about, people wanted to stay on so he could accumulate delegates and influence the Democratic Party.
So here's my deal, and this is what I'm saying to you guys, and I know what you guys keep saying to me about, it's about Donald Trump, this is about whatever, we got to do whatever we need to do to get rid of Donald Trump. Understand the Democratic Party right now is trying to undermine and dismantle completely the progressive movement that gave them so much hell, right? That's what they're working to do. and they're trying to get everybody's eye off of that and to focus on Donald Trump. There's a bigger fight here, and simply just bowing down to this thing is incredible. Like, look, I was reading an article, and what's the guy's name? Joe Rogan, right? Do you remember when Joe Rogan came out and endorsed Bernie Sanders? The whole Democratic establishment went bananas, talked about Joe Rogan and misogynistic comments that he's made and other kind of sexist things that he's done, right? And they talked about that. But you know who just endorsed Joe Biden?
Joe Rogan.
No, Howard Stern. And you know what the same Democratic Party did? They said, "Oh, this is a great thing that Howard Stern came out to." I want you to understand. See.
Talk about a misogynistic, misogynistic, homophobic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But those same people are praising the endorsement of Howard Stern to Joe Biden. So I'm telling you, so when we talk about jumping out of the frying pan into the fire, look, I get what you say about Donald Trump. I'm living in the same America you're living in. But I'm simply saying that I don't really see, for foundational Black Americans, things getting any better. Look, but you know what? Here's going to be the big slap in the face for Black people. I don't know that they'll feel it though. is when Biden doesn't pick a Black person as his running mate.
Vice president.
That's right. That's when it's going to be a big slap in the face. And then, but you know what? Like I said, they're going to say to you, but
the big roar early in Biden's campaign is that the consensus was that Biden was going to pick Oprah Winfrey, and that's why she got all that flack when she did that address at the Oscars.
Right, but listen, it was all BS, right? And so now I'm telling you, they already know who he's going to pick, but they're drawing it out. Because they believe that you have a short-term memory, right? So they want to create enough distance between the fish fry Clyburn saving Biden and when he ultimately rejects a Black candidate. See, and then they're gonna say to you, but that's okay, people, because your goal shouldn't be this anyway. Your only goal should be to get rid of Donald Trump.
So the Democratic Socialist Campaign issued a blistering response to the State Board of Elections decision, calling it an outrage and a blow to American democracy. While we understood that we did not have votes to win the Democratic nomination, our campaign was suspended, not ended, because people in every state should have the right to express their preference. Sanders Senior Advisor Jeff Weaver stated.
Yeah. Now, can you imagine? Wait a minute.
In theory, he's right.
But can you imagine? No, not just in theory. In practice, he's right. Not just in theory. Can you imagine if the Republican Party did this? What the Democrats would be saying?
The same thing. The exact same thing. The whole thing is, what you have to take it to a point that Joe Biden was the heir apparent under a Black administration. That's why he was getting. That's why he was gaining popularity. The millennial movement was all behind Sanders. The movement of people who wanted to get things done, who were tired of these social injustices, as well as the overrun of commercialism and big corporations taking over our government. That was the movement. The movement was about free health care.
Right, but what I'm saying to you right now is this. Let us be clear what's happening. Right? So, sure. On one hand, the Democratic Party wants to defeat Donald Trump. But on the other hand, or maybe the same hand, they want to dismantle the movement.
So the goal is to table the movement issues in respects to defeating a greater enemy.
Right.
So
not table. No. See, table it means that you'll get back to it. Right? No, they're not tabling it. They're
tabling it with the hopes of, they're saying that we'll table it and you guys can run again next presidential race.
So Cuomo says, quote, "I'm not going to second guess the Board of Elections. I'll leave it up to the Board of Elections," he said during his daily coronavirus briefing. Later, during a radio interview, Cuomo said he didn't really understand what the issue is since Sanders suspended his campaign.
Because listen,
they came back with it was suspended for public safety.
Right. Sanders should be able to look.
But he also endorsed Biden.
The race isn't over until you get to the convention, and you have
the revolution.
Right, and you have the votes, and so it should go all the way to the convention. Now, and understand this too. They said the same Democratic Party said the same thing when Biden was on life support, right? And people were saying, well, Biden should drop out. They said, no, we're gonna go all the way to the convention. And remember the whole conversation was that there was going to be a battle on the convention floor. That there was gonna right? That was the conversation. Now they say, well, we don't understand why we can't just put an end to it now that our guy is ahead.
Correct. So we're going to suspend the issue because our guy is going to win. We're going to give you that false sense of hope, what we've been giving black people for decades, to suppress your issues for the sake of the common good. And I hate when people use common good as fuel for their agenda.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
All right, guys, listen.
The last thing is controversial, and I'm sure y'all will enjoy this one. So NBA star Steven Jackson says he left his fiance at the altar over a prenup. So he had been talking to his fiance that they needed to sign a prenup. She had been putting it off. She forgot it. Her attorney is reviewing it, blah, blah, blah. All of this, delay. Get to the wedding day, and she still hadn't signed it. She's bawling. She's in tears. She changes her mind. She said, I'll sign it. I sign it. He says, no, I don't want it, because he knows in his mind, if she signs it now, she has signed under duress, and the prenup may not be what it's worth in gold, for one thing. What are your thoughts?
She ain't nothing but a gold digger. She ain't messing with no broke. That's what I think. If a woman loves you, she will marry you if you don't have nothing between your left and your right pocket but the cheeks of your behind. But all of a sudden now he's an NBA star, and he's like, "Well, no, you don't love me for money. You love me for the sake of love, and you love me for me, not for the money that I can generate."
I'm mixed on prenups.
That's because you're about to get married.
No, but I'm mixed on prenups. Like if I were,
I don't know. You're mixed because you walk away and give him everything.
Yeah, but then she has to actually take into effect that when his next contract comes in, that prenup is now null and void because it's considered new income. See, she didn't think that process through.
Well, she didn't think about it either way. But what were you going to say, Eric?
No, I'm just mixed. I'm mixed about prenups. I mean, if she was going back and forth with whether or not to sign a prenup, well, I don't know. It's love and contracts, they don't go together, I don't think. I think
it's a business deal. Marriage is a business. So what he says in quotes is, we get the prenup back at least, and he did a video on this, a very long video, and he explained it on his side and what he felt. We get the prenup back at least 3 to 4 months before the wedding. This is all true. Yeah, I give her that. When I give it to her, she shouldn't have been surprised by it because me and her sat down and agreed upon a prenup, Jackson says. A month passed, 2 months passed before the wedding. I'm like, we need to get the prenup signed. So when we get down there to Houston, we ain't going to worry about it. I tell her like the 2 or 3 times. I tell her that 2 or 3 times. Later, Jackson says that she had an issue. She was adamant about a particular pastor to officiate the ceremony. Then during the live, he explained later that he told the clergy that he would not marry her if she didn't sign the agreement. And the pastor told him to let God handle it. Jackson said the pastor made it clear that he didn't believe in prenups. God is telling me to put the pen in her hand and make her sign this G-damn prenup, Jackson said. That's what God's telling me. So God telling you and me 2 different things.
All right, Jackson, so you know what? Let me say this.
So
I'm gonna revise my comment.
She never got married.
I'm gonna revise my comment. if during their engagement they were having open dialogue about a prenup, so she didn't push back about it, she agreed, and so he moved forward with his attorneys to draft a prenup and to give it to her, and he's saying we were having conversations about this the whole time, right? And she wasn't pushing. She didn't say during the engagement stage, look, I don't want a prenup, I'm out, right? So she's going along with this. Then yeah, I think that he should call it off, because she should have indicated earlier on, prenup doesn't work for me. Not kick the can down the road. And then, yeah, I'm sure his attorneys were in the ear talking to him about her signing something under duress. So, yes, I think that there was gamesmanship on her part to try to change his mind in the last minute, or to create an out for herself. And so she was intellectually dishonest with him. And so not because of the prenup, but because of the intellectual dishonesty, I cancel her.
The intellectual dishonesty that showed her disingenuine in the actual marriage. And the pastor, in theory, was right about the prenup situation, because it should not be a financial clause in marriage. It's the simple fact, and this is the basic point of marriage. Marriage is a situation where a woman finds a man who can keep her in a standard of living in which she can grow accustomed to raise his children.
So,
but during the event of what happened, hold on, give me 1 minute. During the event of what happened, she expressed to him and showed to him that no, it was more of this than the other, which gave him that theory that, okay, this girl is playing me. And how many times have we seen the situation where athletes marry these women, they get these trophy wives because if you go to the NBA game, courtside seats are all beautiful women, blonde hair, blue eyes, marrying these black men, or very fair women marrying these black men, and then after 2 years of the relationship, they divorce them and cash out.
Wait a minute, is there a race issue here too?
Wait a minute. You marry it. You want a trophy wife, then you get what comes with it. Don't be mad at the woman because she got it together and she been taking her tees and her waist is tight and her booty is popping and everything is where it should be because I attracted you and now you mad because I done suckered you into having a baby.
No.
I want to be on Basketball Wives to show everybody what I did. Nah.
Exactly. You married her because she was popping and banging and all that. You knew it was the prenup. You know the game. So now what you're doing with the prenup is eliminating all of your losses to a minimum of losses.
Pretty much, because what they said is he paid about $800,000 for the wedding, and he literally walked away like whatever. It was the cost of doing business.
Wow.
Exactly.
He cut his losses, right?
But she ends up going on Basketball Wives and doing Basketball Wives. He ends up marrying somebody else and stays married for 4 years and divorced anyway. So he kind of not knew, but with marriage.
No, he knew. He knew what he was getting into.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't.
Yeah.
No.
We went over, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. Real quick, if you guys could afford me time, I took notes of the character, the situation and the question that he asked, and I did the math.
Nope, not going back.
Okay.
Save it for next Wednesday.
Next week.
Okay.
Next week.
Because you will be surprised at the amount that gold has went up to since the time frame that he said.
Okay.
All right. I'm looking forward to being surprised.
We'll do 3 minutes in.
Let me go I'm going to get my beats.
All right, go get your beats, and while you go get your beats, just
people thinking I'm talking about headsets, Diane, because they missed the early part of this show.
So Mike Pence has ignored Mayo Clinic policy and tours the coronavirus testing facility without a mask. What's your thought? Endangering everybody. Now, mind you, they got a picture of everybody else.
Look, it's real simple, right? Put a goddamn mask on. I mean, just you are a symbol, right? If nothing else, you are a symbol, right? You're the Vice President of the United States.
And you're the head of the task force.
And you're a head of the coronavirus task force. And so everything you do in word and deed people should be following, right? And so if you decide that you're not wearing gloves and you're not wearing a mask, but from the task force is telling everybody else to wear gloves and masks, there's a mixed message, right? So, I mean, it's just, for me, it is, it's real simple. He should have just done it.
And in all honesty, the hospital Mayo Clinic should have not let him in.
They shouldn't have let him in.
They should have stood strong to their policy.
They wouldn't let me in, would they?
No.
Right. And so wait a minute. So if Mike Pence works for me,
and his staff.
Understand this though. If Mike Pence works for me, because he does, right? Because I'm a taxpayer. If he works for me, so if my subordinate can go into the hospital breaking the law, and me as his boss can't, there's something wrong with that.
Hey, Vincent.
Yeah.
You need to mute your phone.
Vincent gets carried away. So that's my thought about that. And we can all be outraged because we can't do it. So anytime an elected official gets to do something that you can't do like that, you should be upset about it because they work for you. So imagine if you were the owner of your company and your employees were, had privileges like that you weren't afforded, that they could break the law, break rules that you can't break. It shouldn't be that way. They should set the example.
They all the time on a local level. They've been doing it.
Yes.
They weird. And people, which goes back to Bill de Blasio and his wife, they just do what they want to do, and we accept it. We find somewhere in our mind to say that it's okay, even if we know it's wrong.
Yeah. All right. Listen, guys. We covered a lot today. Hope you got something out of it. Hit the share button. Oh, and please go and contribute to the fundraising thing that I put up for my birthday to the Memorial Sloan Kettering. Oh, you know what I didn't get to talk about?
We can. Go ahead. Give it to me.
So, Vincent and I talked about this. They are now, because of social distancing, right? And how many of you guys who are in the feed had doctor's appointments that you can't go to now because, of COVID-19? And so now what they do is they're doing them on the computer.
Right. Telemedicine.
Yo, it's a scam. It's a scam. So,
but you know what?
It's just a straight up scam. And then, so here's my real question. Why go back to doing it the other way? If they believe that this is effective, why ever go back?
Insurance companies don't pay. They won't pay the same, what do they call it? The same
rate?
Approved rate. They won't pay that rate. So it's not considered a doctor visit.
So I have, because I told you, part of my wraparound therapy with Sloan Kettering is I have a psychiatrist that I see occasionally because they just want to make sure that, in my new norm, that I'm not getting depressed and suffering from anxiety and all that kind of stuff, right? So, it popped up in my portal that I had my appointment with her. So, and it's in New York. So I confirm it, but I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm not going to get on a subway. I'm not going to do all of that. That's crazy. And why would I go into a hospital with sick people right now? And then I got a call yesterday and they said, no, we're going to do it over the computer. So then I'm like, okay, so now I don't get to sit on her couch. I get to sit on my own couch. But she's going to charge me the same amount of money. Come on.
Did you like it?
I didn't do it yet. It didn't happen yet. It's not set up until the 7th of May.
Okay.
So,
the day before my daughter's birthday.
Huh?
The day before my daughter's birthday. That's Thursday.
So I'll let you know how it goes. But my thing is, it saves me a commute into New York, right? It saves me a lot of time.
But that means you never really have to go back in again, even after this, if it works for you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if that works for me, then I do that. Now, I do have to go in for my CT scan. They can't do that over the computer and stuff like that. But I just, I did my neurologist like that too. I just kind of, plugged in the email, the web address, and hit the thing, and there he was, and we talked for like 3 minutes, and I don't know what he billed the insurance company, but.
So look, did you have a colorful background like you did, or did you sit in your living room?
No, I was in a basement, Diane. I want him to know where I'm in a basement.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, how do you like my? Do you see my background?
Yeah, New York City or something like that, or Chicago or something.
I don't know what that is back there.
Well, can we get something else? I'm tired of looking at that background.
All right, tell me what you want tomorrow. I'll have it for you tomorrow.
All right, I give you something.
All right, you give me one. I got a beach background.
No,
that'll go well with everybody staying in their home.
You don't want a beach?
Mad.
I could have like a tomorrow's supposed to rain, so I could have a rainy video background,
Oh, motion. You could do people walking and stuff.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Oh, let's do that.
Listen, I got the same technology that they got at Channel 7 and CNN.
That's what you got.
That's what I got. That's what I got. So when Cuomo leaves his job, I'll take it.
Because his wife is setting herself up to be going into politics after this. Because after this he's done.
Yeah.
He can't go to a position.
Yeah. All right, guys. Listen.
Maybe
I'm gonna take a picture of my beets and I'm gonna send them to you. My fresh beet salad and quinoa and stuff like that, and show it to you all. It's gonna be delicious. Thank you all for tuning in. Love you all. Stay well. Diane, thank you. Vincent, thank you. Andre,
thank you for having me on the show.
Thanks for calling in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Stay safe, everybody. Be blessed.